If you have followed the recent news, Blizzard has been going crazy with information in regards to the Sword of Sargeras, giving us warm and cold clues at the same time. First, they told us it is just a splinter and nothing else. Then they joked about not even knowing what the sword is, but the most recent and up-to-date interview confirms that they actually plan to use the sword in the future. In their words, it is a story thread that they plan to return to and to explore the effects it left on Azeroth. So what are all these recent talks about the massive sword in Silithus, and what will happen with it in the future? You must have wiped out a million times in your WoW years, but you probably didn't have Squad OE with you. And this is an app that records your instances automatically, and you can see your complete performance from spell visualizations to death recaps, and best of all, it is free. You don't have to do anything but install it, and you can share yours and watch your friend's perspective. So use the link in the description and check out Squad OE. All the way back in Legion, Sargeras decided to just say screw it, and he plunged his planet-sized sword right into Azeroth, creating that massive wound in Silithus, leaving a gigantic sword stuck up to the end of the sky of Azeroth. As we learned, there was a ton of poison inside this massive blade, which threatened the very soul of Azeroth, and we pretty much spent the entirety of BFA cleansing it, and we used all of our very powerful artifact weapons to accomplish this objective. Other than the poison that threatened to kill the soul of the world, this was at the same time a giant shock to Azeroth in general, which caused the sprouting of Azerite all over the planet, which was then further utilized for war by the factions. Well, since then, not much happened exactly, and this has been a mystery for years. Now, if you wanna feel old, remember this happened 5 years ago. So, since this event, this has been a huge source of speculations on what will happen, and not baseless whatsoever. Blizzard purposefully fanned the flames, and they pointed that something big will happen with the sword. I mean, it is only logical. We have a planet-sized sword stuck in a zone, the sword of none other than the Dark Titan Sargeras himself, the sword he personally used for countless eons. So, throughout the various interviews, Blizzard threw hints our way in various shapes and forms. One of them was back in 2020 when they said that we should wait and see what will happen in regards to the sword, and there were also some warm hints throughout the Shadowlands, as we knew that the jailer was attacking the world soul of Azeroth. Many of us speculated that the sword would play a role in this ultimate battle, that the soul of Azeroth might possibly finally awaken, or that Sargeras left the sword for the jailer to use when he reaches Azeroth, as they were allies in a way, after all, although we don't really know what sort of allies they were, or if they even were allies. However, none of that actually happened. In fact, the entire ending of Shadowlands and the jailer storyline was the definition of the word underwhelming, and then the sword was never really mentioned again. Now, this was very surprising, because outside of the sword, Blizzard constantly hinted at Sargeras returning or something happening with him, as in he isn't gone. For example, if you remember when he was imprisoned, that red star appeared in the sky, which was his prison, and Blizzard officially told us to keep an eye out for it, because if it is gone, big things will be happening. We should really be getting worried. Well, that now leads us to the most recent events from about 2-3 weeks ago. So, in one of the interviews, Ion said that the sword doesn't matter whatsoever, which caught many of us by surprise. He pretty much just completely dismissed it, said, you know, just get over it. It isn't really that big of a deal. It happened, it is now a massive splinter in Silithus, but Dragonflight is going to be about dragons, the Dragon Isles, and the like, and the sword will play no big role in the actual storyline. They don't really have any plans to update any of the old zones. Now, personally, I gotta say, I was definitely caught by surprise by this as well. I definitely expected something more of it, as after all, this isn't just a random sword, a scar or whatever. This is the sword of the one and only Sargeras, the world destroyer, the Dark Titan, or the strongest Titan ever that split planets in half with his sword in the past. His goal was to destroy Azeroth for countless millennia, and then he finally decided to just stab it. There must have been something behind this plan, something more than him just, you know, trying to brute force a planet with a poison blade. There must be more to this story storyline. Well, we got even more deflated when Ion did yet another interview and he joked about the sword, saying what sword, pretending like it is of no consequence whatsoever. But good news is that Blizzard did yet another interview, this time done by Steve Danuser, who told us that the sword will definitely play a role, which gives us the angle that Blizzard is really purposefully hiding this. They're kind of memeing with this, they're being purposefully vague, and they're just playing along with the meme as opposed to confirming that nothing will happen with the Sword of Sargeras. It is kind of like they're trying to not spoil the future of the actual storyline. I would say that Ion went a bit too far, so they decided to come out with yet another explanation to confirm that they just haven't completely dismissed it. So the official Blizzard interview stated that they have not forgotten about the Sword of Sargeras. Now, at the moment, it is a symbol of our battle against the Legion and all the sacrifices we have made in this massive struggle, and we also saw the effects from the poison and the wound to the world soul. However, other than being a symbol, they confirmed that it is something to keep an eye on and to be watching for. In their own words, it is a story thread that they will return to when the time is right, but rest assured, they remember that the sword is stuck in Silithus and that there will be a storyline about it and the effects it continues to have on the world of Azeroth in the future. So, if you read behind the lines, essentially it gives us a few critical bits of information. First is that the sword was just a monument, is a meme. It really doesn't really mean anything. They plan to actually do something with it. All those leads they gave us years ago about waiting and seeing what will happen were real, and now they gave us yet another hint. Even more importantly, this completely contradicts what they told us earlier when they were joking about how it is just a splinter, just a monument to our battle, because we drained the poison from the blade years ago, yet they just confirmed that the sword still has effects on the world that we will explore in the future, meaning that it isn't just an inanimate object stuck in some random zone that we'll never actually see again. Now, personally, I doubt that the sword itself will play a role in Dragonflight, as they did confirm that pretty much the entire expansion will be on the Dragon Isles, but at the moment, the whole thing is just super mysterious, so while it certainly won't happen in the first few patches, it might play a role in the end of the expansion, as this is a Mists of Pandaria style expansion, obviously, where we explore a new zone and only later discover who the actual final boss will be, and at the moment, this could lead us anywhere as we barely have any clues. I'd say the biggest speculation and the most popular one that we have in regards to the Sword of Sargeras and Silithus still stands, and that is that it might have something to do with the ultimate birth of Azeroth and the World Soul Titan finally waking up and taking on the sword as she fights some ultimate enemy that will invade our planet. Maybe a Void Lord, maybe the big what is to come that the jailer told us about, because this what is to come must be bigger than anything we had ever faced off before. I mean, keep in mind, Zoal literally tried to kill our planet, and he was scared of this what is to come. I mean, this new major villain must be a huge threat to Azeroth, like the biggest ever. Maybe that can only be defeated by Azeroth herself. It is entirely possible that Sargeras also wanted to defeat this what is to come in his own little twisted way, so he could have left the sword in Azeroth in order to allow her a survival chance in this ultimate battle, because if you're gonna get her to her side, at least he can kinda help her out. But of course, at the moment, these are just wild speculations, as this information is just incredibly limited. However, it is now without a doubt that the Sword of Sargeras will play a role in the future, and I'm guessing it is going to be something big. Thank you for watching. Check out the updates to Orgrimmar and Stormwind the 9.2.5 by clicking on the screen, and check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real-world history. See you next time.